topic today that we were going to talk about. And again, if you have a question, just throw your hand up. But we were going to talk a little bit about business vehicle financing. I've had 2 discussions just in the last 48 hours with a couple of you about this to kind of potentially clarify. So does anybody have either you or any of your clients who could benefit from financing a vehicle in the business name? And if so, do your clients know how to do that without the PG, and whether or not that makes a difference? Anybody have any clients? Oh gosh, Michael, that was a great picture. That's great. So it is Friday, so we were expecting something from
Is
Michael
that you?
today. That had to be.
That was just before the gray beard came in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That was a good look. Is that an Indiana special, Michael?
It's nice to see you're still smiling.
It's 6 months.
Okay.
And then I really want to laugh. I've got a picture of my grandson at 6 months. He is a spitting image of me. It's ridiculous. But my daughter looks just like me. Her beard's a little thicker, but she looks just like me.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, ouch.
Wait a minute, that's not right.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
And wrong.
Yes.
Come on.
Well, she does big old butt crack in her forehead. But
Yeah,
my grandson here earlier, and he started rolling these eyes. And I'm like, dude, don't. Just stop. But yeah, he's hang on. I didn't mean to interrupt you with your train of thought.
No worries.
Good at it.
So let's talk about the vehicle financing. For those that you want to those of you that want to stick around, we'll talk about that piece. So one of the advantages and one of the benefits of building business credit, obviously there's multiple benefits of it, but one of the benefits is that then it makes it easier. Now, let's say Kavika today starts a brand new LLC called, Kavika Inc., right? And he could go out this weekend and he could get a business lease or business financing for a vehicle. He could do that. Now, in doing so, he's not going to probably get that without a down payment, right? And he's not going to get that more than likely. He's definitely not going to get that without a personal guarantee. So let's be clear that if someone wants to go right away and go finance a vehicle in their business name with no business credit, they can do that. All right. Now, some lenders do it more than others, and some lenders like the transaction more than others. So there's the nuance of finding a lender. But let's just be clear that nobody has to build business credit in order to get a business loan. However, if you would like to either minimize the down payment necessary or sometimes eliminate the need for a personal guarantee or a PG, that's where the business credit becomes valuable. I've done this 3 or 4 times myself personally with our business, with one of our businesses. So it's not something that I haven't done. This isn't something I read in a book. I didn't go read a bunch of blogs and then decide to interpret it for you. So I've done this, and either on all of them or on all but one of them, I just can't remember off the top of my head, we did not need a personal guarantee. So they relied completely on the business credit, and so the business kind of stood on its own. And we also got very good terms. So for example, 5-year repayment periods at really competitive interest rates and things like that. I am a fan of open-ended leases. They're far more favorable and far better, in my opinion, than closed-end leases. And so, you and your clients will very likely run into salespeople and finance people at the dealerships who are only familiar with closed-end leases and they're not familiar with open-end leases. So that's a piece of the pie here, kind of piece of the puzzle that kind of comes into play. I will tell you that on all of the business leases that we have done, my wife and I, all on every single one of them, we purchased a used vehicle, and on every single one of them, the dealership told us that we couldn't do what we did. They all said, no, you can't do a business lease for a used vehicle. So every one of them told us that we couldn't do it. And after the first one, it kind of got easier. Cause I wouldn't say it got easy, but it got easier because we were able to say, well, we just did it with so-and-so dealership, and here's how you do it. So we ended up, in our case, telling them, hey, can you call the wholesale rep for your finance company, and they will tell you that you have to structure it this way. They're usually called track leases. Open-ended leases are usually called track leases. That's what we preferred. Again, not right versus wrong, just preference. And so once you have your business credit built up, though, one of the benefits is you can get a vehicle leased or financed without the personal guarantee. And so again, really cool. We see a lot of your FPNs and a lot of your red flag requests. We see a lot of vehicles on the personal credit report, a lot of them. And so it's my belief, I'd like anybody to jump off mute or, unmute yourself if you've seen otherwise, but it's my belief that entrepreneurs and small business owners and the people that we're working with, of course, there's an exception to the rule, but 90+% of them, don't know how to lease or finance a vehicle in the name of the business, but they're using their vehicles for the business. I'm going to stop there. Does anybody want to comment on that as to whether you've seen the same thing or something different with your clients and in the marketplace?
I've seen that, but I have a question for you. Can you explain open lease versus closed lease?
Well, I don't know that I consider myself an expert. Yeah, go ahead, please, Michael.
I spent 30 years in the finance department of dealership, 25 anyway, in the finance department of car dealerships. Closed-end lease is what the manufacturer will guarantee the value at the end, and they write it down to that point. So they're usually subsidizing the interest rate on a new car to help them move the inventory, and quite frankly, to have you back in 3 years, hoping that you will turn around and lease another, re-up, because then they've got a captive customer and they have a very good pre-owned vehicle to put on the dealership lot. An open-ended lease allows you, like I've done this on track leases for a number of physicians and things like that, where they will lease a vehicle down to a specified number. That number could be $1, could be 10% of the value, whatever you kind of determine. And again, you might go 5 years, you might do it in 3, whatever the structure is, or a lot of like landscape companies that'll do it on their bigger trucks to write it down and get the write-off longer. But at the end of the term, then that owner of that company has the opportunity to buy that for that remaining balance. But the difference between the two, primarily lease, or for anyone who had the question, is in a closed-end lease, the manufacturer is guaranteeing the end value, and in an open-ended lease, you are guaranteeing the end value.
Right. And I don't want to sound jaded, Michael, but it's very much more so in the dealership's interest to keep you in a closed-end lease for a variety of reasons, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Does that answer your question a little bit, Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Mike.
And part of